Good afternoon. Welcome to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Yes, we are back. It is so exciting to be back with you guys once again here on A to Z and its new home right here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. I am so happy to be doing this show on this network once again. It's the same A to Z show you guys know, the same A to Z show you guys love, all the hard-hitting sports topics, all the edge, all the passion, everything that you loved about A to Z, whether it was over at 92.9 or over at 680, all that is right here on Locked On Sports. And again, thank you so much for making this show part of your daily regimen. We are going to be on 5 days a week, every single day, Monday through Friday, and we kick things off here on April 1st. And again, Locked On Sports Atlanta is available free on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcast. Just search for Locked On Sports Atlanta. And of course, you'll see the show A to Z. A lot to get to here on day one of the show, and very excited to be with you guys. But this segment of the show is brought to you by my good friends at betonline.net. Betonline.net, your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info, from the latest odds, contest, and player props, you name it. Of course, college basketball is going to determine a national champion coming up this weekend and into Monday. Not just college basketball, though, that you can get on betonline.net. All your sporting wagering information needs, live betting, favorite Vegas casino games, everything. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn about the trends and the action on betonline.net. BetOnline, where the game starts. And of course, as you guys know, betting will be a big part of this show, as that is my other new endeavor here, handicapping sports games. If you followed me on Twitter, and you guys have for a long time, at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno, you see a lot of my betting information there. But betting will be a big part of this show right here on A to Z. So please feel free. Reach out to me on social media. Let me know what games you want me to look at, what advice I can give you. I'm here to help with everything. I don't charge for picks. I don't ask for money. But I certainly will give you guys my thoughts on anything that you ask, especially if it's a game that I've handicapped. But let's get down to business here on A to Z, because one of the things that has been mulling around in my mind, and I knew we were going to start this show here a couple of weeks ago, and everything that's gone on with the Atlanta Falcons, I've sort of been chomping at the bit to be able to sit down and have a conversation with you guys about what has gone on and give you my thoughts on it. And I know that there isn't, much left to say. I think we've sort of dissected this to the nth degree. But I got to tell you guys, I feel bad for you Falcons fans. I mean, I really genuinely am sad for Falcons fans everywhere because of where you are. I mean, it wasn't really that long ago that this team was in a Super Bowl, in a game that they were leading at halftime, in a game for all intents and purposes, they should have won and changed the course of this franchise. Like, it wasn't that long ago that all this stuff happened. And you have to begin to ask yourself, and you have to begin to wonder, how did we get here? How did we get to this spot where things are now so bad, and we have a full-blown rebuild, and we have an owner who is in flat-out public denial about what has gone on and what the state of this franchise is? And in reality, why I feel bad for you guys is because you are on the precipice of being a fan that has to come to the recognition that we won't win anything until we get a new owner. Welcome to being the Washington Commanders, a.k.a. the former Washington football team, a.k.a. former Washington you-know-what. That's where you are. You won't win a damn thing until the owner sells the team, because the owner is in the way. Like, this team got here in part because of a lot of bad decisions by a lot of people. The bad football decisions aren't all on the owner. That much I can promise you. But the major decisions about the future of an organization, the future of a football team that are left up to the owner, he has botched. And you should have been able to figure out that when this thing went sour in 2018 and it went sour in 2019, that you should have cut bait and gotten out of Dodge. And you didn't do it. You held on to Quinn and you held on to Dimitrov 5-8 games too long, whatever it was. And then when you cleaned house and you got rid of the GM and you got rid of the coach and you brought a new one in, you didn't get rid of the quarterback. Not because he wasn't capable, but because you were turning everything over. It was time for a new regime, move on from the quarterback, give the new coach, the new GM, their ability to start fresh from the ground floor and rebuild it from the ground up. Nope, we didn't want to rebuild. We wanted to hang on to Matt Ryan because he was a, quote, Falcon for life. And here you are. The major decisions that needed to be made by this owner, he did not make or made them too late. They have failed, and this is where you are. And now you have an owner who's flat out just denying the state of this franchise. Oh, we're not in a rebuild. We thought it was best to move on from Matt for salary cap reasons. And I only had a small conversation about Deshaun Watson. Oh, spare me. Essentially, what the GM and the head coach were trying to do in going after Deshaun Watson in business terms, that would be like Home Depot trying to acquire a small chain of local hardware stores or a small chain of regional hardware stores. And the owner of Home Depot, the chairman and the president of Home Depot, Arthur Blank, going, well, I only had a small conversation about it. No, wrong. That's not how it goes. And nobody believes that. Nobody believes that Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith walked into your office, had a 10-minute conversation with you about bringing Deshaun Watson in, and you said, well, let's just make sure he's interested in us. Because if he was interested in you, which he was, and he had said yes, you would have had to have the trade in place. You would have had to have a plan to dump from Matt Ryan, and you would have had to have a media plan in place to answer 8 billion questions about why you're bringing a guy who's got 22 allegations of sexual misconduct onto your roster. You can't do all that in one small conversation. I mean, it's very simple what has gone on here. And the owner is part of the problem. The owner is a big reason as to why this franchise is in the state it is in. He has lost control of reality and the reality surrounding this football team. And it's laughable that he still refuses to say that this is a rebuild because he's worried about butts and seats at a $2 billion stadium that he helped pay for, or paid for most of it, if not all of it. It's a sad state, Falcons fans. I genuinely feel bad for you. I really do. The fact that the owner couldn't get in front of a microphone, couldn't get in front of TV, and simply say the following words: we went after a better, younger quarterback, we swung big, and we missed. After that, we didn't feel it was right to ask Matt to come back, and so we traded him for whatever we could get to wherever he wanted to go as a way to say thank you. We didn't want to draw it out. We didn't want to make it a long thing. We didn't want to try to maximize our value because you didn't maximize your value. Tyreek Hill got 5 freaking draft picks, and Matt Ryan, who's got an all-pro and an MVP, you're telling me only nets a third rounder? That doesn't all add up. So you could have just said all those things and everybody would have believed you and everybody would have understood, because there's not a single Falcons fan who has a working functional brain that on their merit can look at the situation and go, I don't understand why you would want a better, younger quarterback. Of course you do. Everybody does. No matter how much you love Matt, and that's not what this is about. No matter how much you love Matt, everybody genuinely can understand the idea of moving off of an older, expensive quarterback for a younger quarterback. We all get that. That's not hard to understand. But yet the owner doesn't want to make that recognition out loud publicly, which I don't get. And so here you are, Falcons fans. I feel sorry for you because I do not believe, and you may not admit it right this second, but you probably don't believe that this team can win anything with Arthur Blank being the owner of this team. That's where we are. All right, give me your thoughts on Twitter at Mark Zinno. Of course, again, remember, you can get Locked On Sports Atlanta everywhere, available free on YouTube, everywhere you get your podcast. Just search for Locked On Sports Atlanta. So proud to be part of this network and what we're building here for Locked On Sports Atlanta. So many other shows with John Chuckery, his show Hitting Hard. Of course, we got Tanisha Batiste and Jarvis Davis, ATL Day Ones. Make sure you stay to Locked On Sports Atlanta for everything. Coming up next, they are getting hot at exactly the right time, but that also means expectations are going up. That's coming up next on Locked On Sports Atlanta. It's A to Z. Stay with me.